Hello and how's it going, everyone? It is Skullzi here with another Bethesda News Roundup video, where I break down the most recent Bethesda news, rumors, and speculation, and I have quite a few things to talk about in today's video, everything from official interesting discoveries and some confirmation about future games from id Studios and even machine games as well, possibly some Wolfenstein 3 stuff in this video, if you take a little bit of that speculation salt, because although these discoveries are based on confirmed stuff, they don't actually mention what game is in development other than it's some kind of new future game that also features multiplayer, which is kind of an interesting thing, which we'll get into in today's video. I also am going to be breaking down some inside statements from Jeff Grubb regarding when he believes we're going to hear about Starfield next, and on top of that, I have a couple other quick things I want to go through in today's video. Some of today's video is just going to be some interesting stuff that doesn't really deserve like more than 30 seconds to talk about, so I'm going to go through some stuff pretty quick, but we have some more substantial things in today's video as well. But either way, let's not waste any more time and get to today's information. First off, this is something I mentioned a couple weeks ago. I mentioned it in a video and tweeted about it. I believe it was no more than 2 weeks ago, like probably about a week or two ago. But YouTube is now actually stating that Starfield is going to be released in 2021, and you can see this for yourself by looking at any YouTube video that has Starfield set as the actual game in regards to the topic of that video. And on top of that, I noticed this when I was actually uploading a video a couple weeks ago, and when I typed in Starfield, because that's the game I was talking about, for the first time, YouTube actually put 2021 next to Starfield, and up until a couple weeks ago, there was no date listed here. It didn't even say to be determined, it said nothing, it just said Starfield. There was Starfield, Project Starfield, some other random like old games with Starfield in the title, but then there was just one Starfield, which is obviously Bethesda Game Studios Starfield, because that Starfield didn't pop up until 2018 when it was actually confirmed to exist. And on top of that, like I said a couple weeks ago, for the first time ever, YouTube randomly decided to put 2021 next to Starfield, both for creators uploading videos and the community seeing videos with the topic set as Starfield. So that's still kind of speculative because YouTube could just be guessing here, but it's pretty interesting that all of a sudden in 2021 YouTube is changing the date to 2021. You would think that they would change it to maybe 2022 to be on the safe side, or give it like a couple years just to be safe if they were kind of guessing or estimating, but no, they're going hard with it and saying it's 2021, and a lot of the community believes Starfield will come out in 2021 as well. And I've also heard some inside stuff saying that we'll hear about Starfield in 2021, and on top of that, it will be released in November also. Other insiders claim this as well, but either way, take a lot of that with speculation, but it is interesting to see that YouTube is also joining us on that Team Starfield 2021 hype train. Next up, this is something I'm not going to talk about too quickly here because one, it comes kind of from an inside source, and two, I can't show you anything to actually confirm what I'm saying, but apparently an employee who works for Bethesda Softworks, I don't want to say what developer, but they did say that usually ZeniMax and the Bethesda executives generally don't even tell the developers how much money or how well their games sell. They'll just kind of tell them like, oh, your game is doing good, it's selling well, or kind of just paraphrase it, but they usually never give exact numbers, and that's just kind of interesting. I don't know why that would be. Maybe it's just because ZeniMax is or was a private company up until Microsoft purchased them, and they just kind of wanted to keep all of their assets close to heart, but not telling your developers like numbers involving how well your game is selling is just kind of strange, and I think that's a bad thing to do because it could motivate developers to actually have like actual tangible numbers in their head to visualize how well their games are doing. But either way, I don't know how common that is in the video gaming industry. I've never actually worked as a developer or as an executive or anything in any gaming company ever, so this is just me outside looking in and kind of judging those inside statements. But like I said, I can't confirm this in regards to showing you anything. I do trust the source that told me this, but let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about in today's video. We're going super speculation mode because the community saw a purple star background that they couldn't identify in the Bethesda Journey video, and now there's stuff popping up on Reddit from people trying to find what this could be and thinking it might be Starfield because, you know, who knows, maybe Bethesda actually had some kind of visual artist or graphic designer make something like this for this video, or maybe they just kind of threw random things together with a bunch of effects to make something unique that was made up of other things. Either way, this just shows you how hyped the community is for Starfield, and no, I don't think that this purple thing was a hint for Starfield. I'm pretty sure that Bethesda would go a little bit deeper than just showing us some kind of purple space thing. But anyway, let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about in today's video, which is actually a handful of things that I'm going to condense into one thing, and these all come from Jenkins, one of the Skullzi Discord detectives who is always discovering stuff. I shout out Jenkins in almost every other video, or at least like one out of every 5 videos at most, because he usually finds some interesting stuff. But bear in mind, these discoveries are job postings, and they do show us some new information and confirm some new stuff that's going on within Bethesda Softworks, but at the same time they don't say what games that are exactly in development here. So in regards to any particular game talk, that is speculation, but for the most part everything that I'm going to talk about here is pretty much confirmed. First off, in these discoveries we have 3 job postings. One for id Software in Dallas, Texas for a game designer, another for a level designer for Machine Games, and then the third one again for Machine Games, except this time for a monetization and live designer. And ooh, I know the community is already not liking the sound of that, because monetization and live designer, that sounds like a live service game, right? People don't like that. People look at those types of things like this, and it's uncomfortable to look at things like that, but they do it to showcase that they're uncomfortable with what's happening. The human race is weird. But basically these 3 job postings that Jenkins discovered, I could read for you word for word each one to try to like make my video longer to get that extra $10 off ad revenue from this video, but I don't want to waste your time for $10. I want you to spend that $10 on skooma for you and your family. And basically these 3 job postings can be summarized into 3 main points, and each main point is relevant to the job posting, and I'll go ahead and I'll just summarize these real quick before moving on to the final thing I want to talk about in today's video. The first thing, that id Software, a game designer, seems to indicate that id Studios is working on a game that will have games as a service or live service elements implemented into it from the wording in this job posting. However, Doom Eternal kind of has that already. You can kind of say that the weekly events and the Doom community level up stuff and all the different things you unlock, all the cosmetics and stuff, are kind of a live service element, especially because Doom Eternal and even Doom 2016 had a decent multiplayer element with a good following as well. So already the Doom franchise kind of has live games as a service elements implemented into the Doom games anyway, so I don't think this is anything to worry about. I don't think the next Doom game is going to be like only games as a service style type things. I think it's just going to have more of what we've seen already in terms of the weekly events and the community stuff like that. And in terms of games as a service, or games as a service, I like that kind of stuff. I don't mind that. I just don't like what they did with, for example, that Avengers game. That was horrible. But the second job posting, the one for a level designer for Machine Games, actually seems to indicate that their next game is going to have some sort of multiplayer element. It doesn't say it's going to be a multiplayer only game, but if you remember, Wolfenstein 2 and Wolfenstein 1, they didn't have a multiplayer element to them. We got those multiplayer elements with Youngblood, even though they were a bit cringe. The game was kind of fun, if not repetitive, but it seems like we might get some kind of co-op or versus or something in whatever Machine Games is working on next. If it is Wolfenstein 3, maybe it'll be in that game, but they've said that they previously don't want to put multiplayer into the single-player Wolfenstein games because it'll take away from the story a bit, and I can totally respect that. But the final job posting right here, which again is for Machine Games, actually says that they're working on a live service shooter RPG, which kind of could shed some more light on the second job posting that seems to say it's going to have multiplayer elements, because these multiplayer elements could be community focused, which could again be that live service stuff I'm talking about. A lot of people, when they hear live service, they think the worst situation, and they think a game that's going to be totally monetized and broken down into like just pay to win dynamics, but that's not always the case. Sometimes live service elements can add to the game's depth a bit, and also the community. It doesn't always have to be a bad thing, as Doom Eternal has shown us, but these are the 3 job postings and the 3 things that you can take away from these job postings. It seems like id Studios is working on a new game that'll have live service elements, which could just be like Doom Eternal, nothing to fret about there, and Machine Games is doing kind of the same thing, only it will probably have some kind of multiplayer element, whatever this next game is. I kind of think it's going to be Wolfenstein 3, although it might be the Indiana Jones game, but I kind of doubt the Indiana Jones game would have multiplayer. I kind of would bet Wolfenstein 3 would have multiplayer, but that seems kind of unlikely as well. But either way, the last thing I want to talk about in today's video is actually an inside statement from Jeff Grubb, who I've talked about in previous videos. He has a good track record of like getting inside statements or inside information about both Microsoft and Bethesda, and he's usually always right, or at least his sources usually always end up being right. But he predicts that based on things he's heard, he thinks we're going to hear about Starfield this summer, which is also when I think we're going to hear about Starfield. I've been saying I believe we're going to get some kind of Starfield tease around May, and then a big Starfield event in June for that BE3 2021 showcase, or maybe it'll be at the Microsoft showcase, or in my opinion, it'll probably be at both. We'll probably get a big showcase and reveal of Starfield at the BE3 2021 E3 showcase, and that's kind of redundant, but anyway, and then we'll also probably get some more Starfield information after that event at the Microsoft showcase also, especially if it ends up being Xbox and PC exclusive, which I hope it doesn't. I don't like exclusivity, but I mean, it would give Microsoft a little bit more equality in that exclusivity department. But either way, this is everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. I try not to waste your time and go through everything in a quick, concise way because I did have multiple different topics to talk about today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and as always, if you enjoy the content, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn notifications on. And if you want to help grow the channel and the community, be sure to share the channel, share the content, get people to subscribe, because the YouTube algorithm really ignores channels underneath 100,000 subscribers. However, since I've been asking you all to share the content, the channel's been growing a lot faster. So huge thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. Make people aware of this channel. And speaking of appreciation, huge shout out to these amazing people for going above and beyond to support the channel and bring you content like this. If you want to get a permanent future video shout out and get added to this list at the end of every single one of my videos from this point forward, you can support the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. It's pretty affordable, and links are all down in the description below. It also helps the channel out a lot more than you may think, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time, when it turns out that purple stuff was literally the intro for Starfield, and I guess I should have taken that a little bit more seriously.
It just works.